I will be teaching you how to sew this bralette backless summer dress you are seeing right here on the video and on the thumbnail. And this is what I got right here. So you can see the bralette gown is actually a summer gown. As you can see, this is the back and this is how the gown looks like. Here is the elastic, as you can see there, and these are the ropes. I'll share with you the tips and tricks to making this backless summer gown the way it is right here. So this is actually a summer gown, okay, and that is why it is backless. So it actually has an elastic at the back and it has an empire waist. You can see that part I'm touching is the empire waist. So I'll be sharing with you the tips and tricks to making these bralettes with an empire waist. So stay till the end of this tutorial. My fabric is crepe and I'm using 2 yards of crepe fabric. So you can use crepe, you can use silk, you can use cotton or even Ankara fabric. Here is the 2 yards of crepe and this is the 60 inches length. So you are going to place this 2 yards on fold. And when you place your 2 yards on fold, you are going to have 1 yard. Now you are going to fold this way. Just fold it to 10 inches. 10 inches. How did I get 10 inches? I'm folding because I want to cut out the bralette, and the 10 inches is gotten from the mid chest line to your under bust. So whatever your mid chest line is, so the mid chest line is usually at 5 inches to my under bust, which is 14. That is how I got 9 inches. So I just added 1 inch for seam allowance. So that is how I came to 10 inches. Now I'm cutting out that 10 inches on fold, which I folded. Then I'm going to keep this other piece, that is for the down piece, and I'll use this other part now for the upper piece. So I'll just go ahead and open it up the way you see me do. Then I'm going to fold for my bralette. I'll just clean up the edges. So I'm just folding it like to have a full circle. So I'm measuring to be sure I have 10 inches there. So I'll just go ahead and fold this way and measure another 10 inches. So it's going to be a square of 10 by 10. 10 inches by 10 inches. So I'll just cut it out right here. Of course, you know how to cut out a circle. For this particular circle right now, I am going to measure from that folded point 10 inches. Keep marking 10 inches from that point just to cut out a full circle. I'll take it all the way to that other end, then cut it off. Here I am cutting out the circle. So after cutting out the circle right now, this is what we have. So I'm going to fold it right now to make a crease line. So I'm going to make a crease line with my iron. Okay, so that is the center line. Now I'm going to open up the bralette like this. You can see the crease line. Just go ahead and divide the circle like that. So I just separate them. One piece will be for the one bust and the other will be for the other bust. Next, I'm going to set this bralette aside. We are going to cut out the rope for the bralette. So I pick up the other piece of fabric still for the upper piece, and I'm going to mark out 4 inches. This is me cutting out the strap for the bralette. I'm cutting 4 inches for the 2 straps. Later I'm going to divide it into 2 pieces, so I have 2 inches. So I'm cutting 4 inches from this edge all the way down. After cutting it out, I am going to fold it into 2 and divide this into 2 pieces for the 2 straps. After cutting out, I have 2 inches right now. So I'm going to fold each of these pieces so we can sew the strap. It's 2 inches width, but I'm going to stitch like a quarter, that is 0.25, because I want the thickness of my strap to be 0.75. Next, I'm going to turn the strap. I stitched this strap as a belt. Of course, you know how to sew a belt. So you close one end and leave the other end open. After turning the strap, I'm going to give it a good press. So I'll just iron like this all the way down. Make sure I iron the both straps nice and flat. So this is what we have right there. Next, I'm going to sew this strap to the bralette. You will go ahead and open up one of the bralettes like this. So here is that center for one of the bralettes. So you are going to keep this strap diagonal. You can see how I placed it. Okay, don't keep it straight. It has to be diagonal with that center line. Then you secure with your pin this way. Close it up with the other part. So one part will serve as lining and the other will be the main fabric. Now I'm going to secure with my pins accordingly. Then I'm going to also stitch on the places I'm chalking right now. You are going to stitch all of this angle I'm chalking. After stitching, this is what it looks like. So go ahead and chop off this way. Then when you turn it, this is your bralette. I'm going to give it a good press. So I just want to take the measurement from that point to see if I still have my 9 inches. So there I have 9.5 inches. I'll use half an inch to stitch. After pressing it down, I am going to gather the lower part like this. Before gathering that part, I'm going to overlap by 1 inch. So if you look very well, you see a little overlap. So I'll mark 1 inch on the right hand side of the bralette and overlap that 1 inch this way. I'll secure with my pin. Then I'm going over to the machine to gather. Here I am done gathering, as you can see right here. So I will gather everything this way. Also come over this other way and also gather the bralettes. So we are going to gather it according to what we have on the underbust. So I will set it aside and bring back that piece again. Then I'm going to fold this piece. I'm folding it again this way. We want to cut out the empire waist. So I'm going to fold it again. So I'm going to take the measurement of my waist divide by 4 plus 1 inch. Waist divide by 4 plus 1 inch. So the waist I'm working with is 31. I'll fold it into 2 to get half of my waist and fold it into 2 again to get quarter of my waist. So I'll place that measurement on that point and add 1 inch to it. So make sure you add 1 inch. 1 inch is for seam allowance. Now I'm going to rule a straight line from that point to the end this way and cut it out. After cutting it out, I'll just go ahead and measure 1.5 inches from the upper piece. Okay, from the upper piece measure 1.5. So after ruling the 1.5 inches, then I'm going to place my tape at my underbust. The underbust I'm working with is 14. So I placed my tape at that line at 14. Then I added 1.5 inches to my waistline. My waistline is 17. I added 1.5, which is 18.5. So I'm marking 18.5 right now. Next, you mark 2.5 inches on that line. Then place your curve. So I'm just trying to curve the empire waistline. So I curved it this way. We are going to cut out. So make sure you add half an inch for stitching. So I added half an inch for stitching and I also added half an inch below. Then I placed a notch at the center front. So this is going to serve as the empire waist. Back belt, you are going to place your fabric on fold. The remaining part of the fabric, place it on fold and measure out the length of your belt. I'm using 22 inches for the length. Next, you are going to get the midpoint of the width of the belt after placing it on fold. You also mark the midpoint on the other end. I'm going to get the midpoint of the length too. Then I'm going to also get the midpoint of the width at the center. After that, we are going to measure the side of the empire waist. I have 5.5 inches. I'll take away 1 inch, making it 4.5. So I got the midpoint of 4.5 and placed it at the middle and marked accordingly. Then at the center, you are going to mark 1.5 inches from that middle upwards and downwards, making it 3 inches in width. I'll also mark 1.5 inches upwards and downwards on the other end. So that is the part of the belt. I'll go ahead and connect the middle to the other side and connect to the other side to give you that triangular shape. Then I'm going to mark the belt piece straight like that. So that is the part of the belt. Then we are going to cut out. This is me cutting out the shape of this belt. So this belt is just for one side, but I'm going to place it on the pieces I have right here to make up for the other side. So I'm just using 2 yards for this whole dress, and I want to show you how you can achieve this with 2 yards. Here the belt is ready, as you can see. So next I'm going to open up the other piece. I'll place the belt on top of it just to cut out 1 piece of it. After cutting it out, I'm also going to get the other pieces and place for the other side. This is what I got. So I'm bringing the other pieces. I'll place it for the other belt because I really need 4 belts right here. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out. The belts are very much ready for stitching. So I'll just go ahead and stitch it and leave the bigger part open. Here you can see the belt, and we are going to turn it right away. I'll use my screwdriver to turn. I stitched it just the way you usually stitch your belt, closing one side and leaving the other side open. So I'll just turn it through the open side like this. Then I'll give it a good press. I've given it a good press, as you can see here. So the belts are ready for the back. I'm going to set it aside and we are going to create the loop. For the loop on the side, I'll just go ahead and cut out 1.5 inches. That is the width of the loop. After cutting out the loop, fold in half an inch, then top stitch your loop. Here is my loop. I'm forming the loop. So I'm going to cut it out. The length of this loop is actually 3 inches. So I placed the 3 inches loop on the other. So if you measure, you have 3 inches for the loop. We'll set the loop aside and we are going to join the empire waistline to the bralette. Here I have 2 pieces of them. I'm going to bring in the bralette right now. We're going to place one of the front piece right side to right side. Make sure you secure with your pins at the center front. Then on the side, you are going to mark 1 inch. You know 1 inch is for the seam allowance. Go ahead and measure 1 inch on this side. Here I am also measuring the 1 inch on the other side. So I'm going to place my bralette 1 inch away for the seam allowance. Then I'm going to gather everything into the waistline accordingly and stitch. After stitching, this is what we got. You can see the 1 inch right there. So I'm going to place the lining on top of it, secure with my pin at the center point. Make sure you pin at the center point. Then we are going to turn the other way we have already stitched, match it up and follow the stitches to stitch. After stitching, this is what we have. Now I'm going to open it up again to sew my loops. Here is the 1-inch line. I'm going to fold in my loop this way. Then I'm going to face it inwards. Make sure you face it inwards. At that point, I'll secure with my pin. Then I'm going to get my belt. I'll place my belt also. Place it inwards and make sure you leave half an inch below it so you'll be able to stitch the down piece. After pinning, I'm going to bring the other parts. We are going to close it up and stitch. So I'll put in the bralette and I'll fold in this way. We are going to stitch 1 inch. That is the seam allowance. After stitching, this is what I got. So I'm trying to bring everything out. Now we are going to bring back the other pieces of fabric we set aside at the beginning of this video for the down part. So I place it on fold and I'm also placing it on another fold. Here I am going to cut out this piece right now. So I am trying to separate the both pieces of the remaining fabric we set aside at the beginning of this tutorial. One is going to be for the front and the other will be for the back. So I'm going to gather the front piece. For the back piece, I'm going to fold in my elastic casing. So I'll just fold in like this and top stitch on top of it. Here I'm done gathering the front piece, so I'll just gather it to the front waistline. After gathering to the front waistline, this is what I got at the end of the day. So for the elastic casing part, I'll just go ahead and cut out my elastic. The length of this elastic is just 1/4 of my waist. I added 1 inch to the 1/4 of my waist. So I'm inserting the elastic as you can see. So once I get here, I am going to secure with my pin. So I will continue taking the elastic to the other end. Once I got to the other end, I'm going to top stitch the elastic on both sides. After top stitching, this is what I got right here. Next, I'm going to bring back the front piece and place the front piece right side to the down part. I am going to arrange this front piece, making sure I bring out 1 inch at the other end. So you have to bring out 1 inch on both ends for seaming the back piece. So I'm going to bring the back piece right now, the part that has the elastic. I'm going to put it from that 1 inch and I'll stitch down 1 inch. I'll do the same for the other side as well. After stitching, you can now go ahead and serge the sides. Then we are going to fold in the hemline. We have gradually come to the end of this tutorial. So you can see what we got for this summer bralette dress. So you are going to tie your belt like this. Then you pick up the upper piece and you first cross it this way and cross it that other way. Put it inside the loop like this and put the other part inside the loop as well. Then you can now tie. That is how to wear this bralette dress. Thank you for coming and see you in the next one. Bye.